The capital's fleet of delivery drivers say they are under siege, coming under attack more than 1,000 times a month. Often the reason behind the theft of their mopeds is so the bikes can be used to commit other crimes like stabbings and phone muggings. But when 5 riders were allegedly attacked with acid last week, the fight back began. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
A tussle in the street as a scooter rider takes on a would-be thief. Neither are ready to give up. Passers-by join in. The thief has one last try before eventually fleeing empty-handed on the back of another bike. This was last night in Penge, but it could have been any day of the week anywhere in London. Today, hundreds of riders on scooters, mopeds and motorbikes headed for Parliament in a massed cavalcade to demand tougher action to protect them and their property. Moped thefts in London are now running at a rate of more than 1,000 a month.
Last week's acid attacks have underlined what these moped riders have known for months, that they're the targets of a growing crime wave which has taken a menacing turn.
The thieves are increasingly brazen and violent, seemingly fearless as they angle, grind, intimidate and threaten their way around London. Daniel Leffer delivers takeaways for a Chinese restaurant. On Saturday, he was cornered by a gang of thieves.
2 of them came running towards me with what I believe was knives in their hands or possibly acid bottles. I managed to swerve around one of the guys and I just sped away, and that kind of scared me. I don't even want to go to work anymore. I've been off since Sunday now.
Riders who call the police are often left frustrated and angry after being told the thieves can't be chased.
We are calling police and sometimes they are coming late, sometimes even if they are coming on time, even sometimes they saw the boys are wandering around, running around, but they are not chasing them.
Well, we pursue all criminals, and at the end of the day we follow national police guidelines on pursuits. And if the risk is too great because, someone's put themselves in a risky situation, then we look at other methods of bringing that person to justice.
In Battersea on Saturday, a gang of thieves took an angle grinder to a bike owned by Alex, a personal trainer. They chose the wrong target.
All my screaming from the window for them to stop, didn't do anything. So I grabbed the hammer and I ran out on the street. One of the guys jumped on me with the knife, and then second one jumped with the angle grinder, but then when I started swinging the hammer, they got off and ran away.
But many of these self-employed delivery drivers are not prepared to put themselves at risk any longer, saying they won't work after 8 at night. Simon Harris, ITV News, Westminster.
Well, that meeting at Kensington and Chelsea tonight is due to get underway in the next half an hour, and councillors will debate a petition signed by more than 1,500 people calling for them to resign. Well, Simon Harris is outside the council's offices tonight, where protesters are already starting to gather. Simon, the last meeting attracted quite a number of protests. Is that likely to be repeated?
Yes, very much so, Lucrezia. A number of organisations, including Justice for Grenfell and some trade unions, have called for a demonstration here tonight. And as you can see from around me, there's quite a few protesters already gathering outside the town hall. There's a big security operation, crowd barriers and police. And the number of people allowed into the town hall is being limited, with priority given to Grenfell survivors and their families. Among the Grenfell survivors hoping to get in tonight is Sid Ali Atmani. He's one of those people who's turned down the offer of new accommodation. He was offered a flat in the neighbouring borough of Westminster, and because he's turned it down for the last 5 weeks, he, his wife and 10-year-old daughter have been living in a hotel.
Where's your privacy? My daughter, where's her life? Is that good for everyone to be in this position, in this situation? Is that what we can do?
Wouldn't it be better to accept somewhere, even if it's not the perfect place, to get out of the hotel?
I can't do that. I can't do that. He's not secure. Who's going to guarantee me? Who's going to guarantee, after I take the accommodation for 1 year, to give me the guarantee after 1 year I will be safe with my family?
Labour councillors will vote against the election of the new leader, Elizabeth Campbell, and her cabinet. But this is a Conservative-controlled local authority, so the Labour protest vote will amount to not very much, really. What Labour councillors are really hoping for is to try to persuade the new chief executive of Kensington and Chelsea Council to scrap the council's tenant management organisation and replace it with a new body which might be able to rebuild trust in the North Kensington area. Lucrezia.
Right, Simon, thank you. Now, as political comebacks go, Sir Vince Cable's is pretty impressive. 2 years after he was ousted as MP for Twickenham, he's back in the hot seat, not just on the backbenches. This afternoon, unopposed, it has to be said, he was named new leader of the Liberal Democrats, a job he told our political correspondent Simon Harris just 6 weeks ago he didn't want. So, why the change of heart?
It's the job no one else wanted, and now it's his.
As no other candidate has been nominated at close of nominations, I can now announce that Vince Cable is the new leader of the Liberal Democrats.
It was Sir Vince Cable's parliamentary comeback in June's general election and Tim Farron's resignation which saw the 74-year-old become front-runner in the Lib Dem leadership race. There was speculation during the election campaign that Sir Vince was being lined up as a possible replacement for Tim Farron. But when I put it to him 7 weeks ago, he tried to dismiss the idea.
I'm going back to be MP for Twickenham. That's my ambition.
So under no circumstances will you ever be Liberal Democrat leader again?
I'm not going back in order to compete for the leadership.
Sir Vince's opponents in Twickenham accuse him of breaking his word.
During the hustings, he said he wanted to be the Member of Parliament for Twickenham and nothing else. This is a man who clearly has delusions of grandeur. He thinks he's going to be a kingmaker, yet he represents fewer members of Parliament than there are Scottish Conservatives.
As Business Secretary, he swapped the Cabinet room for the ballroom to make a guest appearance on Strictly. A decade ago, he was briefly his party's acting leader after the resignation of Sir Ming Campbell.
What Vince Cable has, above all, is experience and judgment. And of course he's particularly strong on the economy.
He's under no illusion about the challenge now facing the Lib Dems.
We certainly need to up our game, for sure.
As the new leader, Sir Vince's priority is to campaign for a second EU referendum.
What we now need is an exit from Brexit. And the exit from Brexit comes as a result of the policy that we have adopted, which is that we must consult the British public at the end of the process to put to them the choice.
And that will involve trying to sell a message which left many voters cold in last month's election. But his promotion today is still a remarkable reversal in fortunes for a man evicted by Twickenham's voters 2 years ago, who 6 weeks ago wasn't even an MP. Simon Harris, ITV News, Twickenham.